Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to be here with you. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm excited about today's topic. I wanted to first just say yay and congratulations to all of you who joined me for the Quit Sugar Challenge. Oh my goodness. We really did it, didn't we? It was amazing. So many ahas, so many results from quitting sugar, even for a few days during the challenge. It was amazing. And, you know, women were discovering so many hidden sugars in the foods that they eat, and really coming to a lot of realizations about their relationship with sugar. So it was just a beautiful experience for everybody who played, and so many women played full out. I was so impressed and so grateful that they just went for it. You know, they rolled up their sleeves and were like, let's do this. And the results followed. So congratulations to everybody who was a part of that. It was really fun. Just super, super exciting to see all the changes, and just to, you know, be in a different place 5 days later from quitting sugar. So bless you all. And if you want to be notified when we do another one, if you weren't able to join us, definitely make sure that you're in the Secret Sauce group. That's where I'm recording this live, in the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating Now. So be a part of the group. Also on my website, if you fill out the quiz to find out if you're an emotional eater or not, you'll automatically start receiving the announcements whenever we do come out with something exciting like the Quit Sugar Challenge. So jump over to healyourhunger.com for that. So on with the show. You know, after doing this challenge, I just got so much feedback from women that I really was inspired by, and it inspired me to talk on this topic, which is really 5 things that make fighting food so hard, you know. And for one thing, it doesn't have to be a fight. I mean, the bottom line is it does not have to be a fight, but it feels like a fight for so many women. You know, they just feel like they are you know, in the battle of their lives. And it's gone on for years. It's like the longest battle ever, right? It goes on for decades. And even though people make great strides, if they go on a new diet or they find a new exercise plan, over and over, I hear it's so hard. You know, it's just so hard. This topic today is really, really important. You know, the fight with food feels so hard to so many. And that's really what I heard about in the Quit Sugar Challenge. I heard women saying, you know, I do good for a little while and then I fall back in exhaustion. You know, I'm into it for a couple weeks and then it just gets hard and I want to quit. So that's really the topic I want to talk about today. You know, why does it get so hard? Like, what is that? You know, because it doesn't have to be that way. And so I'm really excited about this topic. So thank you for, if you're in the sauce group, thanks for liking the page. I mean, the video, thanks for some hearts and some thumbs up. I really appreciate that. The women in the Quit Sugar Challenge were so active and so engaged, and they gave me so much love. I loved it. So, you know, my girlfriends in the Secret Sauce group, if you could do the same, I would be so grateful. Really, really helps. And it also, you know, it's you never know, it might help you as well. So, you know, when we give, we get. So let's talk about this. Why does it feel like an epic battle to deal with like clean eating? Like, why does eating healthy only last a couple weeks or a couple months? Like, why does it get so hard? What is it that makes it so hard? So I want to address this with you. There's five key things I'm going to focus on today, which I hope will make a lot of sense and be helpful to you to know really what's going on there. So number one is that it's hard because you're trying to hold back a tsunami of emotions. You know, fighting food, what we're fighting is we're fighting all the emotions that we've packed down with food for so long. You see, we don't just happen to want to eat. I was 50 pounds overweight. I ate all the time. I snacked all the time. I snuck food a lot, when I was around other people. Or when I was a waitress, I used to waitress, and I'd put donuts, like the place I worked at was a lodge in Maine, and I'd take the homemade donuts they make in the morning, and I'd put them in my apron and go to the bathroom and eat them. So why was I so compelled to eat? And of course I would diet during the summers that I, was, that summer when I waitress, but other summers when I did other jobs, I would do good for a little while. I'd always be on a diet. I mean, always dieting. Anybody who fights food and weights, he feels like they're always on a diet. So that was me. But I would be good for a little while, and then I would just break out. I would break out in a binge, and then that binge would last for just as long as my doing good lasted. So, and it was always because doing good got too hard. So the reason is because I wasn't hungry for food. I was hungry for relief. That's what those donuts were about, is that I had stuffed my emotions for so long. I had just packed stuff down for so long. And, if I stopped packing it down, it came up and I didn't know how to deal with it. And so I would stuff it down again. And so what gets hard for people when they're losing weight, or when they're not eating their favorite foods, their sugar, their carbs, their snack foods, all that stuff, when they're not eating that stuff, yeah, at first it feels fun. It's like you got all this energy. I'm on a diet. I'm doing great. Food plan's working, exercise plan's working. And it's like we're fueled by that energy of newness. Like I'm on to something new, and the energy of it working. That's why we're good for a little while. And then we think it's going to be that way the whole way through until we reach our goal weight. But it's not, because at some point, that sense of, energy and freedom and excitement, the newness of it wears off, and we start like slogging through it. We start slogging through. And why? It's because we didn't plan on having all the things that we had stuffed for so long come up and be in our face. And we're not necessarily aware of it. For me, when I would diet, I would start to get depressed after that newness wore off. I was fueled by the adrenaline rush of doing something new, getting lots of compliments, feeling like I got this. I was fueled by that, but that always wore off because everything that I had stuffed down was starting to bubble up, and it made it hard for me to get by in life without my friend food. And that's what happens. That's why 98% of all diets fail, because we're like, woo, I'm going to lose this weight. But we don't plan on the fact that we gained that weight specifically because we were burying emotions. That's what emotional eating is. We are stuffing our emotions. And when we stop stuffing our emotions, those emotions are right there in our face. And if we do not have tools for dealing with those emotions, we will go right back to our eating, which is the reason why 98% of all diets fail. It's the reason we go back to eating. It's the reason why it feels so hard. What feels hard is being weighted down with feelings we have no tools to cope with, for helping us cope with. So, that's where that hard feeling is coming from. And I really want to, just bring that to your attention, is that that's what hard is. Everybody, I just heard it over and over from so many people that just said, it gets hard. And I really am like, I want to turn a spotlight on what's hard. Number two, it's hard because it's a lifetime habit. Okay. We just think, I'm going to go on a diet and take care of this once and for all. Boom. It's going to be done. 6 weeks and I'm done. But they don't take into account the fact that, we have depended on food for a lifetime. Maybe some of you didn't start till after your teens, or after you got pregnant, or after you had your kids, or after you got divorced. Fine. But it's been a while. It did not just happen. You didn't happen upon my podcast because all of a sudden you felt hungry. No. You've been fighting the good fight for a while. And the fact is, it's gone on for so long that the idea that we're just going to diet and get done with it, not going to happen. Not going to happen. We are dealing with a lifetime habit, decades of fighting, but really decades of being dependent on food for entertainment, for love, for comfort, for companionship, for anger management. I mean, this is a serious dependence. And so the idea that one little, keto diet or intermittent fasting stint is going to turn it around, no. That's why it feels so hard, because it's like, holy crap. It's not that easy. Quitting sugar isn't always that easy either. Again, because you've got those underlying causes that are pressing on you. If you don't have the tools to deal with it, it's going to make it hard. That's where the hard comes from. You are dealing with a lifetime dependence, a life of dependence on food for coping with uncomfortable feelings. And life is very uncomfortable. That's why I ate all the time, because I didn't have the coping tools. I didn't have the coping tools. Food was it. Food was my go-to for everything, even the good feelings. So that's what makes it so hard. And people don't plan on that. You've got to have the proper tools, and you've also have to have patience, and you also have to have support. No question about it. Number 3, losing weight, staying off of your favorite food, staying away from sugar is hard because you think, you can figure it out yourself. And people say to me all the time, they're like, I know what my issues are. Like, I know what my issues are. I can't seem to follow through. I know what my issues are. I just can't seem to stop eating. And I want to tell you, with all due respect, you don't know what your issues are. If you knew, it would be much easier. But people think, oh, it's because I was abused as a kid, or, oh, it's because I'm in an unhappy marriage, or, oh, this. It's never one thing only. So yes, abuse, yes. Unhappy relationships, yes. Jobs that aren't a fit for us, stress. There can be one primary thing, but I promise you, it is a whole panoply of emotions and experiences that have gone into fueling your drive for food. And so it's not so simple as just one thing. And people, when they tell me, I know I eat, they're blind. They cannot see why they eat. They may know, but they may think they know, but what they think they know is blinding them from the truth. And the truth is, there are many reasons that they haven't even tapped into. That's why I go deep into the 24 personality traits of the emotional eater, because you're not eating because you're a sugar addict. You're not eating because you're abused as a kid. You're not eating because of A, B, or C. It is a web, like a whole web, a tapestry, if you will, of motivations, of underlying causes that start from a very young age, and they morph into other symptoms, and then other coping tools to deal with those symptoms. And then there are other coping tools to deal with the coping tools, to deal with the symptoms, to deal with the problem. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a tapestry of many, many emotions. So when people say, I know why, they don't know why. And I don't mean that to be, obnoxious. It's just that it's not that easy. It's not as easy as people think it is. So people are frustrated, and they're like, I know why. Trust me, there's so much more to know than what you might be seeing. And in fact, your thinking is keeping you from seeing. So just saying. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to tell you the truth and to help you. So if I'm ruffling any feathers, good. I want you to get shaken out of complacency. I want to ruffle some feathers. I want you to feel a little uncomfortable, so you might start taking a look at some hard truths. and then maybe be inspired to do something. And of course, I want to help you. I don't want to just ruffle your feathers, but we got to start somewhere, right? It's hard. This is number 4. It's hard because you're trying to fight a problem that is so big. And it's like this is a quote that my former husband, Roy, and mentor used to say. He said, "You're trying to fight a Russian tank with an archery set," which is such a great analogy. Now, nowadays there's other military, equipment, but this, for the sake of the example, it's a good visual, isn't it? Trying to fight a Russian tank with an archery set. Guess who's going to win that battle? That's how it is when we come to the food problem, the emotional eating problem, with our little archery set of a diet, our little archery set of, just making a resolution first thing in the morning that I'm going to be good. No, that is not enough equipment. That is not enough strength to fight this fight. You are going to be overpowered 10-1 if you're just expecting that your good intentions are going to get you there, or you're just expecting that, the latest fad diet that you've made a resolution to follow, which you aren't going to follow, with very much luck for any amount of time because it's hard. That's what we're looking at here, is that you got to have the right tools. I've already said that, and I'm going to say it, loud and clear right now, is that an archery set's not going to cut it, because the stress of life, the buried emotions, the undealt with emotions, the doing things in our life for reasons that are off, like not being aligned with who we are, just being driven by people pleasing, just being not our true selves. By the time I got to recovery, into the place of really turning my ship around, I had spun out and become like this other person. I was doing things in my life that had nothing to do with who I really was. Like, I just was out of alignment because I had been trying to be somebody I wasn't, because I didn't think who I was good enough. So I was doing this activity or that volunteer job, or I was off. I was not living true to myself. And so I just felt like this fraud. I just felt like this person I didn't even know, but I thought that was better than who I really was. And so I was disoriented. I was out of alignment and disoriented, and what I had to do is get down to who I really was and get aligned, get to know who I really am, and get aligned with that person and operate from that authentic place. So, the idea that I can just battle this problem with good intentions, or with, this false self that I built up, wasn't going to happen. I had to deal with, that problem of being out of alignment. There are so many tools I needed in order to overcome emotional eating that I see women just being without, and that's why it gets so hard for them. They're just like, Tricia, it's hard. I've been on this diet for so long, but it's hard. I've lost the same 20 pounds 3 times already, or over, during quarantine 15, during COVID, I put on 15 pounds. I can't exercise. I just sit and eat. It's because you don't have the right tools. You don't have the proper equipment to fight the problem of emotional eating. And number 5, it's hard because you're doing it alone. Remember I talked about trying to figure it out and feel like you know, and so that's it. You're working with what you know. Doing it alone is the hard way. Fighting food, fighting weight, trying to lose weight without support, without a community of other emotional eaters, is so hard. I will venture to say it's virtually impossible. It is virtually impossible, unless you just happen to gain 5 pounds, over COVID, but you're normally you're usually normal. It was because you weren't getting to the gym. In which case, you probably wouldn't be attracted to this podcast in the first place if that was your only problem. But if it's a chronic problem, if it's a problem you've been dealing with for a long time, and COVID just made it worse because you weren't going to the gym, and it wasn't 5 pounds, it was like 10 or 15, You know, that's because you're doing it on your own, and it becomes hard. It becomes so hard that you lose the battle. But with community, you know, my clients are in community with each other. You know, we have calls on Zoom from women all over the world who are emotional eaters, and we are laughing and we're crying and we are sharing stories and we are relating, and it is feeding our souls. It is feeding our souls. And that soul food is healing our hunger. So when you're just doing it alone, and you're embarrassed and you don't want to tell anybody you have a problem and you don't want to reach out for help, that's what's hard. You know, it's doing this alone is hard. And my experience is the food will win. You know, that lifetime of programming in your mind, those neural pathways that are just completely built for, you know, going straight to the food every time you're uncomfortable. That's hard. Stuffing down, you know, trying to not eat, but having a tsunami of emotions, that's hard. Without support from other people, without the love and the support and the community that feeds your soul, you're going to stay hungry, and it's going to be really hard to resist. And that's what most people do. They go on a diet and they resist. They're just like Katie bar the door, like just trying not to, white knuckling, trying to hold on. And they can't do it. It just gets so exhausting. So I'll cover the reasons again. Number one, because you're trying to hold down all those emotions that you haven't dealt with, and it's impossible. You got to deal with your stuff. You got to get used to being uncomfortable. You have to realize, you know, that you can get through that stuff, and you don't need 20 years of therapy to do it. There's a very systematic way to just process anything that comes up and to get rid of it. It does not take a lifetime of sitting in a therapist's office, you know, and you know, with all due respect to therapy and therapists, but I mean, a lot of people listening here, you know, are in their 50s and 60s, and nobody has that kind of time. Like, it's time to start living, not thinking. But there's a very quick way to start processing the stuff that comes up. But you can't just be focused on food and weight, or you'll be missing it. That opportunity to dig down, deal with the underlying emotions, and get rid of them so they stop forcing you to the kitchen to try to stuff them again. Number two, it's hard because it's a lifetime habit, and you got to have compassion for yourself and what you're doing, and you have to be patient. You have to deal with the right problem, not the problem of food and weight. That's a symptom. You got to deal with the right problem at least, and then realize that there is not a quick fix. You gotta go deeper, you know, and really address the real stuff. It's hard. Number three, it's hard because you think you know the reasons, and you just have to figure it out or work it out. You probably have missed a few things. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say on that. Number four, it's hard because you don't have the right tools. You're trying to fight a Russian tank, you know, with an archery set. You've got to have the right tools. And it's hard because you're trying to do it alone. That's number five. And I promise you there's an easier way. Absolutely. And that's what people are discovering with Heal Your Hunger. So if you feel like it's hard, if you're feeling really frustrated, you feel like it's hard, and you do good for a little while, and then you just throw up your arms and say, screw it, I can't do it anymore. And you don't even want to try again. You don't want to even hope again that it's possible, because you're going to have the same experience again. You probably had the same experience numerous times of doing good and blowing it, you know, getting a sense of freedom, losing some weight, and then packing it all back on again. And I understand that. I talk to women every single day who have that experience, but it's because they don't have the right tools, you know, they don't have proper support, and they're attacking the wrong problem. You know, they're in the wrong fight, basically. It's not a fight with food and weight. It's actually, it's really a process of healing the underlying causes, so you don't have to fight at all. You can surrender. You can completely surrender, you know, and God can heal you and heal that compulsion to overeat, where it's no longer a struggle or a fight. So that's my message for today. You know, I want that for you. I want healing for you, but you got to be working with the right tools and addressing the right problems. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you later. Take care.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.